I've always done some prehabilitation as S&C, so little exercises given by physios and masseurs and strength and conditioning coaches just to keep me in one piece. So lots of work with activating my gluteals, stretching tight hip flexors. About 5 years ago, I worked with a really good strength and conditioning coach who I had a really great program with, and did that for a number of years, and it really helped me. In the last 2.5 years, we've had our first and then second child, and I got to a good stage in terms of, or a good place in terms of maintaining a level of strength and conditioning, which involved gym work and plyometrics, and some heavy squatting and some explosive dynamic work in the gym. But now all I can do really, it's gone down to, I had a period where I had just a little injury which stopped me going to the gym, and then got out of the habit. Life, work and family took over even more, and I don't have time to leave the house to go to the gym. To spend an hour and a half in the gym and travel there and come back is just impossible. So for me, it's just doing the bare minimum to stay healthy and injury free, which involves little bits of band work at home, stretching tight muscles, and activating gluteals and stuff to make sure that when I do go out for a run, I'm in reasonably balanced shape. I think the key to getting the most out of your training and your recovery, number of things, on a sort of micro level. Then I say getting your hydration and nutrition right, and that is really simple. It's just making sure that you are drinking enough fluids throughout the day if you're working all day leading up to doing some kind of training session, and that you've eaten enough and not too close to your training session, and then that you are having a snack and a meal straight after you, or as soon as possible after your training sessions. That will help with your recovery. And then on a more of a macro level, that you've got consistency in your training, and the only way you get that through is through being healthy and injury free, and having enough energy to complete your training consistently over a number of weeks and months without break and interruption. And the key to doing that is ensuring that you're listening to your body, and that you are resting when you need to rest, and that your training is progressively challenging. So I was really pleased with the recent half marathon. It's one of the sort of, I haven't done many of them. I've only done about 5, I think, and it was the fastest that I've run. And it was in quite challenging weather conditions and stuff. So I was pleased that the build-up was varied. So since the birth of our second child in towards the end of November, we've had a lot less time, a lot of illness and tiredness and lack of sleep. So up until about the end of January, middle of January, my training was wasn't particularly consistent. I was ill a lot and unable to train properly, just sort of exercising rather than training. But then I had a good consistent period for about 6 weeks after that, and did some local races to keep me motivated, some 10k, and a 5 miler and a park run. But in terms of training and what I was doing, it looked and felt pretty poor for a long period of time, but I just sort of kept plugging away, hoping that it would come good. And in the last couple of weeks before the half marathon, there was just a couple of sessions that I did that just felt a little bit better. I felt healthy. I was running reasonable sort of times, a bit closer to what I've been used to in the past, and just felt a bit more energetic. So I was quite optimistic going into the half marathon. I knew that I at least had the sort of fitness to be able to keep up with a group of leaders for a significant period of time, and I knew that would help drag me around the course for as long as possible. And it was only really in the last 3.5 miles, 3 miles, that I really started to suffer a bit in terms of the lack of volume of training that I have in my body these days, and that's where it kind of showed, and I sort of dropped off from 66-minute pace to more like 66:40 something, which is what I finished up with in the end. So that last 3 miles was pretty hard, but I was pleased with it. As I said, it's been a haphazard build-up apart from the last 6 weeks, but I've always backed myself when I've had a good 6 to 8 weeks of training and a bit of consistency that I can be in reasonable shape. So